All right, everybody, welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing. We are back with another episode. I am one of your hosts, Chris Mack, and I am also here with
Elizabeth Stanton.
And today we have a very, very special guest. We know this is our movie episode. We know we do one every midpoint of the season, and today we are talking the great movie B.A.P.S with my friend from Texas, comedian, actress, producer, writer, model, makeup artist. Stop me, or I'm gonna keep going because I can do this all
you
day.
Started lying like 3 job titles ago.
You have some of these.
I was gonna be like, man, when do you sleep?
You know what though? I need to understand. This is something I need to wrap my brain around as a Texan in California. Is like in California, if you do something once, that's your title. So like you go to one open mic, you're a comedian. So like, yes, I'm a comedian because I've been touring all over the country. But you said producer, and I was like, I mean, I produced some shows and model. And I was like, I guess I modeled once. Like I have to wrap my brain around it because like I'm like, you know what? If you do some shit once, it's your job here. So I guess.
Yeah, because you can put anything. You can put anything on a resume and be like, yep, I know exactly how to do that job.
I guess I'm just a Jasmine of all trades now, and I have to accept that. But my main thing is comedy. So yeah, I'm on jazz. You find me doing stand up everywhere.
So yeah,
we'll replug you at the end. Do you want to plug like Instagram or a website or anything? We'll do it again later too.
I'll do it later. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, by the way, her name is Jasmine Ellis. I didn't get to that part. I was still doing the intro. She's like, no, fuck all them lies. Stop capping. I am not all these things. I'm trying to build her up, you know. She's like, nah, fuck all that. We keep it 100. That's a girl from the South. They don't follow through the bullshit. We get right into what's real and what's going down.
It's, and sometimes it's to my detriment too, because you got to fake it till you make it. And sometimes I'm like, I mean, I haven't done it 100 times or made $1 million at it. So I'm the
same way.
I'm resisting the urge to play down. I've got to play up. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm getting on a tangent here, but I was going to tell you guys a story. I had so I'm seeing a therapist, and I had this awesome Black lady therapist, and I loved her so much. And she told me that when I feel intimidated, that I need to think about an alter ego and in meetings and kind of become that person. And she was like, a Sasha Fierce, if you will. And I was like, oh, you speak Beyonce?
Oh no, you might need a new therapist. She's speaking Beyonce.
I love it.
Send you on the path.
I was like, you are out of network, but worth every penny now. You earned it.
I just like the idea of a therapist going, it's Sasha Fierce, if you will.
Yes,
that's true. There is some kind of
it's a clinical term now.
Well, here's the thing: there is a class on Beyonce taught at certain colleges, so there's something there. There's something there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking.
So the movie is B.A.P.S. I've never seen it. I saw it today for the first time.
Black American Princesses.
Oh no!
This is a great movie.
Everybody froze on my end. Sorry. Okay. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. Come on. Keep going.
Do you have an Ethernet cord? That's what I do sometimes during podcasts just to get it right.
I might switch to a hotspot.
Let me go ahead and take my my shit off the Wi-Fi because that helps.
Yeah.
We be unplugging the PlayStation, Alex's phone, my phone.
Yeah, some areas in LA just have shit Wi-Fi, period.
Yeah.
Let me know when you guys are good to go. I'll kick back up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm off my Wi-Fi now, so that should make it smoother too.
I'm good so far. We'll see if I have to switch it over. I'll switch it over.
Okay. So this episode, we're talking B.A.P.S. It's an acronym. It stands for Black American Princesses. And this is, I want to say it's a ghetto classic. Am I wrong in saying that, Jasmine?
I would not say you're wrong. I would say you're acting.
It's a ghetto, because here's the thing. It has all the ghetto element. It has all the Black comedians that are in every ghetto movie. You have Faison Love, AJ Johnson, Scruncho, Pierre, Bernie Mac. All these motherfuckers were in Friday and every other hood movie that you could probably think of from the 90s. So it's for sure not a hood classic, because that's every one of their careers is starting out a movie like this. And I feel like it's also a hood classic because I feel like maybe 2%, maybe even 1% of people outside of Black people have seen that.
Today was my first time.
You're part of the 2%.
Yeah, I went in totally blind because I remember seeing ads for it as a kid and it being marketed very like a broad comedy, which I don't feel like at the end of the day it was. I could be wrong because there could very well have been jokes I totally didn't get, which totally, yeah, Midwest. Grew up in the Midwest in Michigan, might have missed a few things. But I remember like it being like advertised to be on Comedy Central all the time as a kid. But like never really knew the plot. Just knew like they wear these really like extreme wigs and outfits and it's B.A.P.S and that's it, and that's all I got out of it. It was like not the movie I was thinking it was going in, just based on like remembering marketing and back in the day, and also didn't realize it was 1997. For some reason I thought it came out in like 92. I have no idea why. I have no grounds for that, no basis. It just
How old are you, Elizabeth?
I am 35.
Exactly. Yeah. So all three of us, we're in the millennial vortex. We're like, we think everything we remember from childhood was 10 years ago.
Exactly.
And then everything from being a teenager was 5 years ago. We cannot, we've hit this wall where we can't process that our childhood was almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So, so you think anything you think from the past was like way further than it was. And then you think 2016 was a year ago. Like, it's a mental. You could play YOLO or any Drake song from that summer, and I'd be like, "Oh, I remember this from last week," and it's like, no.
It's like, I have terrible news for you. That was several years ago now. No, that happened to my brother's friend actually, because my brother's actually like about 6 years older than me, so like he had it at a different time. And one of his friends was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen your family in a while." He's like, "How old's your sister now?" Like 15. He's like, "Dude, she's like 23." He was like, "Oh right."
Yeah, but it's funny that you mentioned that it was marketed like a broad comedy. So I just looked up the original flyer and this, or not original flyer, but the original movie poster. And the tagline is so funny. It says, "These pretty women are clueless." So like they were trying to market it to like all America, and let's just be frank, it's the 90s, white America. Yeah. Right, like mentioning that, and then it kind of makes me think of like the number one sitcom at the time is The Nanny. So we and then like we're a couple years fresh off of Cheers. America loves a fish out of water story.
Yeah,
yes, so that's exactly what this is. Yeah,
and Robert Townsend says, "Let's do a fish out of water, but the water is the hood, and let's take some girls out of the hood to Hollywood." And let's show that like that dichotomy. And it's just kind of interesting. I wish I would have been I wish I would have been an adult at this time to like see what it was like. Because as a kid, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right. But do you think, because like I wonder when I see movies like this and like, we needed these kind of movies because like we needed to see Black faces on screens and because there wasn't that many around. But like I wonder if, because like you said, we were kids, so to us it was like, hey, we're happy to see Black faces on camera. But like, I wonder if adults were like, this is offensive as shit. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, Black people, you know what I mean? Like, because I even watching it now, I was like, man, this is problematic. Like, this movie could not be made this way today at all. Like, somebody would lose their motherfucking job if they greenlit this today. You know what I mean?
You know what? I feel like if you had said this 5 years ago, I'd agree with you, Chris. But here's what's happening. I think culturally amongst Black people, and Elizabeth, I promise we're not just going to have like a Black study.
It's fine.
I'm like taking over your podcast. Like, let's talk about Black movies. Okay, but here's what I feel like is happening. I think our reaction is kind of like, it's respectability politics. And we're like, oh, they got all these ghetto wigs and these teeth and this and that. And so at the time it was thought like this is bad. But if you notice throughout the film, there are prominent Black women in Hollywood that we also see. We see LL Cool J with like classy looking women on his arm. They're not talking because the man directed them. But they're there. And then
that's still the problematic of today, because like that's what I'm saying. Shit like that would be, people be like in the blog sphere, like, oh, you motherfuckers don't let the women talk. They're just eye candy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and then we also had the attorney. I think it was very important. I think it was very important and very deliberate that the attorney was a Black woman. So we see an educated Black woman, and she never talks down to them. She never talks like she's better than them. Because the thing is, I think now in our culture, we understand that Black women and Black people contain multitudes, and we can be hood and be educated. And this movie shows a little bit of both. But like, it's kind of funny because it's like sometimes, like for example, Insecure. Like you watch Insecure, right? Or you guys watch Insecure?
Yeah, I'm a little behind by like 2 or 3 seasons, but I do enjoy it. I just got overwhelmed with TV.
Oh, I'm sure there's just too many. There's too
much TV. I can't do it.
That was funny. Is I thought I was gonna have to pick a TV show, and I was like, oh no, I watch so much TV.
No. We'd be there for days talking about TV shows. It'd be a
in season 1, Issa's apartment, she lives with in her apartment building, she lives with an actual gang member. Like we know, like people like this exist and their stories are worth telling. And I think Black people as a whole are getting to this point where like we like representation, but not every piece of representation has to represent all of us. So I can imagine being if I was an adult in the 90s being like, damn, another hood ass blah blah blah, because there hadn't been like enough variation.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's kind of funny because I'm revisiting The Nanny, and so it kind of it hits the same marks in a lot of ways of like, look at these girls who don't belong turning everything upside down, you know,
and for the better at the end of the day, like you know.
Which here's the thing too, there was so many of these kinds of movies in the 90s and early 2000s. I don't understand how white people don't have more Black friends. Like every single movie ended with their lives being like enriched by having like a hood ass Black friend come in and like show them how to eat, show them how to dance, show them how to wear some clothes, like really live life. I don't understand how there's so many people that just only hang out with white people. Like I don't get it.
I have an answer, and the answer is Iowa. Like the way that I've been touring a lot, and I didn't realize there were so many parts of the world that are just insulated from non-whiteness. The air quotes flyover states, like the places where corn comes from, like they really just don't even have a chance to meet a Black person. And
unless they go to college.
Yes, and I had a roommate like that, and she was from one of those towns, and it was actually kind of super overwhelming because she expected me to I think she expected like a B.A.P.S experience. Like I was gonna like fix her shit. And I was like, I'm here to make bad decisions. I'm not worried about you.
Here's the thing, in her defense, imagine you a little white girl in Iowa. Only thing you know is white people. You see a movie like B.A.P.S, and then you get to college and your roommate is a B.A.P, you're like, oh shit, I'm about to be like, my whole life is about to change. And then when it doesn't, she's probably like, but I'm supposed to be Martin Landau. Like, where's
why won't you make me soul food?
No
Come
soul
on.
Food or nothing. Like, I can't even get no soul food. This is bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, like, I'm from Michigan. I'm like an hour-ish, kind of northwest of Detroit, so not from the city at all. Although I heavily support like Detroit things. I buy a lot of Detroit
Detroit versus everybody, right?
I have the shirt. I just got it. I didn't know about it, and then I saw it by chance on something else, and I looked into it, and I bought it from the official website, not like a knockoff thing. I wanted to make sure it actually went to the creator and everything. But like my town growing up definitely was not very diverse, and it, like slow. Like by the end of high school, there was like 5 Black kids in my high school. You know, I can't imagine how that experience was.
The fact that you know the exact number lets me know that it's way too low.
It's really low. It's really low.
You should be able to pop it off, and you can count it on one hand. That's not.
Yeah,
that's
and like, and you know, without going on a huge tangent, Detroit was very like, whoa, don't go into the city, or like, don't go into the city at certain times. It's Detroit, you know, and I. But like, to my parents' credit, we never ever like approached the city that way and like went and did cool things, and loved the Detroit Institute of Art, Fox Theater. I'm trying to get like artwork of the spirit of Detroit for my apartment. I just moved, which is why I have this giant blank wall. And I was sitting here, I was like, well, I have this and that. I was like, I've always liked the Spirit of Detroit statue. Is there like a nice print of that or something? And so I'm on the hunt on Etsy and all around to try to find like.
Etsy's so magical. I love Etsy so much.
I have a couple things bookmarked. I'm just trying to decide. I'm like, which print is it going to be? Which one?
Just as long as it's not a neon sign. and it's just don't do that.
I'm gonna put the Live Laugh Love with the Joe Louis fist.
Chris, did you see the video of that girl who burned down her house with a neon sign?
No, but
that
scares the shit out of me. That's not good.
Yep, she moved into her apartment, plugged the shit in, and then went out with her friends. And 2 hours later, her apartment was like pretty much burned down and unlivable. Like everything.
Oh my god.
So like, you know, the what do you call it? Not fountains.
Firefighters.
Fire whatever came on in her apartment to like.
Oh, fire alarm.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, you gotta be careful with those actual like neon signs.
Anything you have to plug in, you should always unplug. Like toasters, crock pots, as we learned from This Is Us. The dad died from the faulty crock pot, and my mom doesn't really follow the show, and so she's like, oh, they had that guy die. I was like, oh, they had like a crock pot with faulty wiring. And she's like, now you know why I tell you to unplug everything on the counter all the time.
Hilarious.
And so to get back to the movie, I want to know first, why did you want to watch this movie again? Like, why did you want to bring that to the podcast, Jasmine?
I had a hard time picking, but honestly, it's one of my favorite movies, and I feel like it's like a 90s Cinderella story, and so many Black girls in the 90s like love this film.
Yeah,
like it's just obscure enough that so much of the rest of the world hasn't seen it, and I feel like I think it's great performances. It actually is a great love story.
It was so sweet and tender. Like like I said, it was marketed so broad. I expected it to be very over the top and like a comedy, like a 90s, hammy. Hammy, like 90s comedy. Like these two are with, what happens when these two girls from Georgia show up in Beverly Hills? It's, wacky, Black girls meets old man in B.A.P.S.
And exactly what it is, but like that's I feel like a lot of movies too, trailers do them a disservice.
Yeah.
Because I think if you were to look at just the trailer, you would think that Niecy and why can I not think of what
Mickey,
you would think Mickey are not thoroughly fleshed out characters. They have ambitions, they have backstories, they have a real friendship that isn't just built around men or whatever. Like it passes the Bindlechev test.
I was gonna say, does this pass? I think this passes the Bechdel test. I couldn't
Bechdel, there you go.
I couldn't as we were starting, I was like, oh, I didn't think to look at it, but I mean they talk about like we want to start the salon restaurant, so they're named, they have a conversation that's not about men in multiple scenes. And
also, it does one of my favorite tropes. I am obsessed with the invisible character. My favorite thing in the world is when a movie or a TV show has an inside joke where everyone talks shit about an invisible person that we never see.
Yeah.
And not to be confused with The Incredibles. It can't be like Frozone's wife where we hear a voice. I mean, this person just never exists. Like on Frasier, it's Maris.
Maris, yeah.
Maris. Stan on Will and Grace. And on this, we got Lakeisha Jenkins. And
poor Lakeisha, though. Everyone's really mean about her.
They said don't fuck with her at all, yeah.
That's why we never see Lakeisha.
Looks like Lakeisha with a bad hair weave, and they're like, it do. It's one of my favorite just like running gags. I think there's some great comedy, like, and I love a girl friendship duo.
Yeah.
I love that. I wrote like a pretty funny pilot with not the same scenario, but there's something about the bond between two women with a plan, Laverne and Shirley. I love to see it. I love an Ethel and Lucy, like just two best friends.
Marvin Starr, man. I go to Vista Del Mar to do that.
So funny. So I'm obsessed. So funny. So silly. So good.
Star.
Say somebody else has seen it. She's been trying to get me to watch that movie. I still haven't yet. I'm not avoiding it. I just forget about that. I need to watch this.
In all fairness, it was expensive on Amazon, but I took a gamble, and boy, was my gamble paid off. I watched it like 3 times while I still had the rental.
I should have watched it more than once. It was kind of pricey, but I was like having a bad day.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine, spend $30 on this. I wish I'd seen it in theaters.
I do wish I'd seen it in theaters, yeah.
So that's cool. It's cool that you like that you brought a movie like this too, because I do think they're like the marketing for it wasn't great. because I also think that at this time they didn't really know how to like. How do you really, if you're a white executive, how do you really market this movie to people other than just making it a wacky black comedy? Because that's what was selling in the 90s was wacky black comedies. I mean, you had people like Martin Lawrence who was doing movies and shit like that. And you had like the wackiness of like Will Smith. You put them in a movie together, boom, you got a wacky comedy action, right? You can sell that. But like, how do you sell a movie like this? Because it wasn't too many great female projects out there. It wasn't too many great black projects out there. And not a lot of people were going to see black movies in the 90s other than black people. So that's where I think it's really fucked up because like they couldn't market this, they didn't know how to market this, and it's actually a very like intellectual comedy. There's like so much good shit in it. Like the fact that you have two characters that are women that are like more ambitious than the men in their lives. Like the men are the lazy pieces of shit that like don't even want to look for a job. And these girls have like the huge dreams of getting out of the hood and like making something of themselves, and not even necessarily getting out of the hood, but just making something.
Yeah, but in all fairness to the guys, did they invent Uber? Because when they initially said it, said the idea at the beginning, like it wasn't clicking that like. Because like I was like, oh, a pager, yeah, whatever. Like the 90s
luxury car service.
And then at the end, when like I saw the billboard and they explained it again one more time, where they're like, if you need a cab, you page us, and the cab comes to you. I was like, wait, they invented Uber.
I'm saying, bro, I think somebody owed Robert Townsend a little money because he wrote this as a trope, and then 20 years later, it's an actual service. You call a car, it comes to you. I feel like somebody needs to be in a courtroom somewhere, right? You know what I mean? Trying to figure it out because there's got to be some inspiration there.
Do you think they would remake this with his daughter? Because she's starring on a Black Lady sketch show.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I watched that. I just
makes sense.
Guy Townsend, yeah.
Yes, that makes so much sense. Okay,
they could.
Got it.
I love Black Lady sketch show. It's so good.
I do too.
The one
I did that little packet and it didn't get picked. But
oh shit!
I love the
that
was real pain. That was real pain.
Yeah.
It's okay. It hurt. This is all part of him.
I feel you. Because I actually submitted a package to Insecure that didn't get picked. So I feel it. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Y'all want to get me on the show? That's cool. I get it.
It's fine. Your voice goes higher and higher.
It's fine. I didn't want to kill myself or nothing like that. That's crazy. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I that was real pain. Sorry, I gotta get my shit together.
It's okay. This is it's good to be in a place where I can get rejected at this level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Because like you're at least in the position to submit, and that is that's always if you look back to however many years ago when you were thinking about that level, you come a long ways. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yo. Okay, but you know what though? What I really like about this too is like not only it's a clever comedy because there was like little inside jokes that they weren't said, that you just had to be watching it. Like when they were on the plane and the dude next to her kept getting poked in the eye by her hair. That shit was hilarious. And like they just moved, the fact that they just like moved past it like it was nothing. That's what made it more funny because dude was like, what the fuck? Like, he was getting
the fact that old man said just fucking move me or whatever, like that he cursed about it was like hilarious because I feel like they were I'm like, oh no, I feel like it would just be like, oh please move me, stewardess. But he's like, I'll fuck this or what. He just was like really mad.
I love how the two of them, like, it's like no one can make them feel less than because they don't entertain that. It is like I think they are just such fully developed, determined characters. And I love the guilt they feel early on when they're offered the opportunity to pretend to be the long lost grandmothers of it's just I just think they're so sweet and pure. They're like such girls, and you want to see good things happen for them, and they mean well, and they just got to get out of Gold Tooth Tuesdays.
Yo, everybody, did you notice that everybody in that town had gold teeth? Like everybody.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes, every person who smiled had a gold tooth. I was like, who wrote this? Like, who went to Georgia? Like, is this a town in Georgia that really exists where like all black people have a gold tooth?
I was gonna ask if gold teeth were that common. I don't know.
Oh, the 90s, yeah, for sure.
In the South, okay, so maybe Texas. People argue that Texas isn't the South, but like I feel like in the early 90s, 2000s, I remember seeing pictures of a lot of people with gold fronts. Like it was just much more normalized.
Yeah.
And then it like hit its peak with people wearing full-on grills, and then it was like, well, that's too much.
Yeah.
All your teeth are gold.
And it also because it kind of stemmed from like it was just like. Sadly, it became a trend, but it really stemmed from just like black people not being able to afford dental care. So that was like you just got a motherfucking gold tooth when that tooth went bad. But then motherfuckers, it was like all the hood niggas started wearing gold teeth as like a fashion statement, and then the trend moved on into what we see now of like full on grill pieces.
What's
like
funny is it's like New York people are like making it the trend again. Like one of it, like
oh yeah.
I've seen like Mack, and they're doing like what I love is it's the intersection of like hood and woo woo, and I like because they're doing like you'll have a grill that has like opal or malachite in it to like gain prosperity.
Oh, like the crystals plus grill. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yes, and like
don't forget to charge your grill under the full moon though.
Yes, if you see with some rose quartz, mind your business. I'm manifesting. If you see with some rose quartz fangs, like.
I mean, I do got a rose quartz bracelet, so I can't talk that much shit.
Oh, did you hear me when I was fighting with my husband? Not fighting with my husband. We were trying to figure out how to get this backdrop up, and I was like, "Don't knock over my crystals."
No, we couldn't hear you. Darn.
I was like, "That is the most LA sentence I've ever seen." Like.
I was gifted.
But I feel like listen,
bunch of crystals recently.
But you know what? As much as we make like people make fun of that, but like when you're in the entertainment business, you want any kind of advantage you can get.
Yeah.
Like if it's like a crystal, if it's fucking meditating and whatever, like you want any kind of advantage that's gonna help you get deep into the business where you want to be, so you can like be successful. Because like. It's such a grinding business that you don't want to leave anything up to chance, because like what if all it took was you buying that one crystal and you're off to the land of your dreams.
Christopher,
I'll perform some witchcraft.
Is that so now I should have bought some citrine and I would have got a Black Lady Sketchup.
Hey, I go to tarot card readings instead of therapy, so
you needed some rose quartz, you needed some tiger's eye, you needed some pewter sight.
Elizabeth, you get tarot readings?
I'm joking, but I've had 2 tarot card reads that were very like affirming and nice, and I mean, whatever. But then I also, without going on a huge tangent, I also went to a psychic that told me like a lot of great things are going to happen, including being like in a writer's room in the very near future. And then I got cancer instead.
Yeah,
so dark. It's so dark. Sorry, the jokes are so dark, but I'm all good. But I remain eternally angry at that psychic who didn't mention anything, because literally like 3 months after, I was like, man, that was a great reading, and it's like I got to work on like manifesting what she told me was going to happen, and then the universe was like, no.
Damn.
So
I know. Like, you know what? You literally should have went back with your diagnosis to that fucking psychic, like, I want my money.
Like, somebody's got some bills to pay, and it's not me.
Can you imagine if they were like, Cancer? Oh, I thought you were born in July. My bad.
I said I was a Capricorn up front, and you know it.
That's fucking. Yeah, maybe you're a Cancer rising.
I've done the chart now.
Forgive the pun. That was really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Before we drop all of this woo-woo stuff, because I know we got to get back to the movie. I had somebody do like a side reel astrology for me because of the eclipse. So like during the eclipse, you want to look at your moon, and according to my moon, it says I will be eclipsed out of a career that wasn't financially stable. And that made me cry because I was like,
no,
I need to be eclipsed in, please, no.
Is it opposite day too on the
eclipse? Exact word. You will be eclipsed out of a career. So I'm like, what? It's the most depressing thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear it.
Doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't count. Not real. It's all made up anyway.
That's so funny, man.
Anyways.
No, you're good. Also, because we were talking about the plane scene not that long ago. Jasmine, I feel like you've been here before and you could probably explain this. How awkward must it have been for the flight attendant to have to like deal with the situation that was happening between the hair and the angry white man, her being black? Like, tell me I know you know how that feels because I'm sure you've been there. So tell me how you think that went down in her brain.
I love flight attendants because I feel like they're just the shadiest motherfuckers in the entire world. Like I would give anything to just after a shift hang out with a bunch of flight attendants. Yeah. I feel like they probably laughed about it, you know, and just were like, here we go. And also, too, if you work that ATL to LAX flight, you see this a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's true. That's true. This probably wasn't the first time.
I will say they're the best and worst experiences of my comedy career have happened in the Atlanta airport. Like people are just like they have the most hustly salespeople. Like there's this dude who almost got me to buy a pair of $300 Valentino sunglasses because they match my headphones, and I'm going places according to him. And then there was this dude who charged me an extra $5 because I was getting a breakfast bowl, and they had all the food out, eggs, whatever. And I asked for rice. And then he goes, it costs $15. And I was like, excuse me? He goes, yeah, since you got rice, it's a lunch bowl. And I was like, but there's still eggs in it. And he was like, yeah, but that's the rules. And I was like, okay, how much is just the rice by itself? And he's like, 99 cents. And I was like, get me a breakfast bowl plus rice. And he's like, I'm not even trying to do all that. And I was like, then what? I don't know. Wow. And then I was like, all right, well then I'm just not eating here. And I walked away.
Yo, that is Atlanta like a motherfucker. That is so fucking ATL. I can't even express how real that is. I've been to that airport. They are real about. Oh my god, that's so south. That sounds like low key. That sounds like Chicago too, because Chicago O'Hare. They don't put
I once got stuck at O'Hare for like 7 hours, and like the little man who plays the piano knows me now. Like,
you got a friend in O'Hare.
I spent like $100 and got so drunk at that bar, and I could have pulled out my laptop and worked on packets, and instead I just kept drinking.
Sometimes you just need a break. It's fine.
Yeah. Sometimes that's just those days. Yeah, you just gotta drink. Oh man. Okay, so we got these ladies. They're going to LA to be in a heavy D or try to be in a heavy D video. Mm-hmm. And then they get approached by a very creepy Italian dude.
Random Italian
very creepy white guy.
Well, remember they audition unsuccessfully.
They audition first unsuccessfully. Yes, but. Here's the thing. I want to, because I feel like here's the approach. This sounded like porn. I don't know if the offer on the table.
I thought that's where it was going. Porn. I was like, oh, here's where the really broad comedy is gonna come, and they're gonna be asked to do like a porn at the old man's house. What's happening? And then it was like,
free women born at a mansion plus $10,000. That sounds like a porn offer. I feel like I've heard that before. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Because that would have been my first instinct as a woman to be like, no, you're trying to get me to do porn. I'm not going to go to your mansion.
I was shocked at how naive they were in that moment because these are girls from the hood. Like they're really about to just go with this random dude. But they also, that's one thing I love about them is both of them kind of like, they trust fate. They trust the universe. Mm-hmm. They're like, things are happening. And so they just go for it.
To the woo-woo thing, they're like, you know, if it happens 3 times, it's a sign it's going to happen because they see the ad for the audition on TV or on the radio, on TV, and in the magazine at home. And so they're like, it's happened 3 times. My mom said if it happens 3 times, that means it's like meant to be. So they have like a lot of sort of faith in the universe.
And I love that. I guess, you know what, I think it shows just kind of the duality, because one thing is like, you know, America loves to portray Black girls as aggressive, and then full stop. No other feelings, no other thoughts, no other, just like we're actual animals that aren't capable of reasoning and thinking things through. And it's like, these girls will fight to the death for people they love, but they're also caring and whimsical and hopeful, you know. And I think I don't know. I think these are very measured, fleshed out characters, and you don't get that from the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's great too because it's so funny to see like kind of. I think this is the clever in the writing. Is there that personality there, how open they are and how like different they are from how Black women are portrayed, and you see the kind of the resistance towards that with like some of the characters that they meet with the butler and the nephew trying to use their naivete as a negative thing to like turn that against them, and it's just so weird because like I feel like people didn't have that idea of Black women that they could be naive, they could be hopeful, and then they saw it as a negative thing, like, but it didn't cripple them. You know what I mean? Like that naivete that they had, it didn't make them like victims at all. They even through that naive, like they still beat old dude's ass when he was trying to rob and blame it on them. Like they beat his ass. Like,
is it time to talk about that scene? Because that is one of, okay, so me and my sisters, and here's why I've watched this movie so many times. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So when we were kids coming up, my parents didn't pay for childcare. That wasn't a thing. You just kind of, the agreement, because my dad is one of 8 and my mom's one of 7. So I have a huge family. And the agreement is that, and they all had kids around the same time. So I have 4 cousins that are the same age as me, born in 89 or 90. And then my older sister has 4 or 5 cousins that are around the same age as her, born in 84, 85. So what would happen is all the cousins, like 10 of us, we would just go week to week, house to house. So instead of spending the whole summer entertaining your own children, you got a break from your kids, but then 1 week out the summer, you had 10 children in your house. And that was the system.
That was the payoff, yeah. But you got 4 weeks off when you did 1 week of 10 kids. That's not a bad system. I kind of like this.
Yeah, you can, as a parent, you can kind of imagine it's like worth it. So Uncle Curtis, recently divorced Uncle Curtis, he gets us for a week and he's still working every day of that week. And he rents 2 movies. And he's like, yeah, y'all watch this. 2 movies, just 2. And the movies were B.A.P.S and Child's Play 2. So
what a combo. What a double feature.
Child's and saw the word princesses and was like, bet, right?
That's what kids like, right? Please help, I'm a recently divorced man. I don't know how children work.
I'm 7 years old, right? And I'm terrified. 7 or 8 years old. I am terrified of Chucky. Chucky, like to this day, like one time my mom, like 2 years ago, my mom just came up behind my ear and goes, I'm Chucky, and I screamed. Like I hate Chucky. I'm so afraid of Chucky. And the big cousins would watch Chucky every day. Like at least once, and I don't think they were really watching Chucky. I think they were like in there talking about big kid stuff, crushes and cigarettes or whatever. I think they were just being 13, but they didn't want the 7 and 8 year olds around. So they would have like a 2-hour period every day to watch Chucky. And then me and my little naive cousins, we really did watch B.A.P.S every day for like 7 days straight. And then we did it for like 2 or 3 summers. Like,
oh my God.
Here's the great thing is Hollywood Video went out of business. So he just kept the tapes. So Chucky B.A.P.S summer happened like 3 more years. And so that's why I didn't watch it this morning, because like I know it's in my cortex, like it's in my soul.
It is burned in your
and it's like, and it's kind of funny too, because like the first couple of times I think they did watch Chucky, so like we put on B.A.P.S to like drown out the screams of murdered children and people or whatever happens in Child's Play.
Yeah, that
just wait before we continue. Elizabeth, I wanted noted. The name of this episode is Chucky B.A.P.S Summer. I don't want nothing else. If nothing else becomes of this episode, that needs to be the title, because that is needs to be the title of your next album, Jasmine. I guess
Chucky B.A.P.S.
Chucky B.A.P.S Summer.
Forget Hot Girl Summer. Forget Thot
Summer. Damn
it's Chucky B.A.P.S Summer.
It's funny. It's kind of funny too.
I laugh because like I've had that summer before. Like you watch the 2. This is your entertainment, because like there for a long time there was no cable in the house, so whatever tapes you had, that's what you watched. So mine was like I didn't get Chucky B.A.P.S, but like my 2 movies that I've seen a million times is Total Recall and Kickboxer with John Claude Van Damme, because those were the only two movies that we had on VHS at the time. So I would just watch that in a loop, going after the other.
And so, I mean, I remembered every line, and like me and my cousin Christy, and I'd be like, I'm Niecy, and she'd be like, no, I'm Mickey, or we'd argue about it, and like, oh my God. My favorite, the funny thing is, as an adult, this is my least favorite scene, but as a kid, this is my favorite scene. I used to love the fashion scene where they go shopping.
Oh, it's so cute and so like of the time, but like,
I hate montage scenes with, it's just a filler. It's a way to waste time and show people in different outfits. It's so silly. But as a kid, I was like, ooh, one day I'm gonna wear a lycra lime green jumpsuit with a leopard print coat, you know?
And my old man friend will be wearing like a leopard print coat as well.
Oh my God. And then when they go to the club, the roof is on fire. And like, it's when Alfred is in the booth.
I love Alfred.
And I love that his name's not even Alfred, but they call him that because of Batman.
Yeah, that was such a great
ongoing like, oh, Batman. Yeah.
Because they're like, he should be in the sequel. I thought that was perfect. I was like,
we would, and like, this is pre-TikTok, we would like stand there with the tape on, me and my cousins, and we would like act out the video. So like the scene where, can I give this, or no one's, I don't know if anyone's listening.
Yeah, it's spoiler filled. It's, you know, if you haven't watched, like, we are trying to encourage people, like, show me what I've been missing is the idea, but hopefully you watch the movie as well before, or perhaps we spoil it and you're like, well, I would like to see what happens anyway, and you still see the movie.
So there's a scene where that Italian dude who picked them up and got them hired for the job in the first place, turns out he's a shady character. This whole thing is an elaborate ruse, basically, to get the grandpa declared insane so that his nephew can get all of his money. So what they do is they convince Niecy and Mickey to pretend to be the long lost granddaughters of his love, because you know, a man who is in his 80s and the 90s would have been alive during like the peak of segregation. He couldn't have been with a Black woman when he wanted to. By the way, fun fact, it's Loving Day today. So celebrations for interracial love. But anyways, it's this plot to make it look like they were robbing his safe. And they catch him they catch him in there stealing, but they don't know it's him, and he has a ski mask on. And I love the part when, and Halle Berry's form in this scene is fantastic. She just, the way she just, and the punches connect, they beat the shit out this man. And they're having this like debate while they're like, no. See, you were in the kitchen getting the popcorn. You missed this part. See, what happened was Tyson hit him like this. And like, the way they beat this man's ass was just so beautiful. I love it.
You know what though? They cut away from the best part, because it was right at the end when right in the scene when they walk away to go call the police. Halle Berry's like, you know, talking that shit to him again. She's like, like he tries to hit her again. And he's like, oh, I'm about to whoop your ass. And then they cut away. I'm like, and then, of course we know she fucked him up, because like the next scene is him like barely able to walk out of the house. And it's like, we missed the best part. We missed the best part. Like, you know, we should have seen him fuck him up a little bit. It would have been like a funnier scene to see him like
the full
really take him out. He cut too soon.
Oh, I love it. I love their boyfriends back home with their perms.
The inventors of Uber, man, they really were.
I'm telling you,
they were ahead of the time.
I was like, somebody owes somebody money, because this was way before Uber was ever a thought. This is way before we had smartphones and anything. Like, cell phones were barely a thing at this time, because people were still using pagers at this time. So I don't know. Somebody need to go back and find a lawyer and be like, hey, see, here's the thing. I met this shit in '92, so I need to go ahead and run me my money, because you know what I mean. Like, Robert Tyler should be. I mean, but he probably got money, so I ain't gonna too worry about. He's done a lot, but still.
This was the era of car phones, which, God, you know what? Honestly,
oh God, yes.
I wish if I could like have a car phone and a house phone, and then enjoy the rest of my life without a phone. I think. I think
honestly, I think that would be honestly, I think I think we could go back to that time of like pagers, car phones, and like a house phone. I think we'd be totally fine with that. We think that we wouldn't, just because like we like Googling shit at the last minute or whatever, trying to find things. But like that would probably be the only thing that would really kind of suck if we reverted back. It's like Googling shit or trying to fucking map your way to
you include all that on the car. You include all that on the car phone. Then you can just leave the car phone in the car.
That's true.
And walk away.
I feel like we're all saying we should stop using social media, and none of us are gonna. You know what I mean?
Nope. I'm a grown woman. I fucking love TikTok. I can't stop watching TikTok.
That's true.
I'm not on whatever the TikToks that drive people insane. I've somehow avoided all of that. I'm on like progressive witchcrafty sewing skills TikTok.
That's a funny TikTok is such a fun experience at first, and then it's like the more you engage with it, the further you end up down the rabbit holes.
Yeah,
and and then you end up seeing like really horrible shit, and you're like arguing with people, and it's just especially if you start like, it's like if you're just an observer, it's fine. Once you start putting out your own content, then it goes to shit.
Yeah, I've made like a handful, and it's like mostly about my cat, and that's about it. Pretty non-controversial stuff, but you know.
Which, you know, is kind of funny. This kind of like talking about Niecy and Mickey and like how they were on the plane and stuff. So there's been this like recent discussion in the Black community about wearing bonnets in public. And I made a TikTok joking about how like it's silly that we get mad at Black women for wearing bonnets in public, but like no one ever says shit about a messy bun.
Yeah.
So the joke of it is it's like a fake commercial for a bonnet that turns into a messy bun for white women. And it's like, it looks like, and the funny thing is like, white people have thought this is hilarious, and Black people are like, you're trying to bring us down. Like all this stuff.
But it is unfair because I've been at work, you know, not to disparage anybody I work with girls with like the sloppiest buns, and I, as someone on the more plus side end of things, I'm like, I can't look that sloppy because people will think I'm not, you know, smart or capable or whatever. It only is okay on like slim white women to have like a full-on rat's nest with like a pigeon coming out of it, and people are like, that's so cute, how'd you do that?
Honestly, that's the most unrealistic thing about B.A.P.S is the fact that they flew with their updo instead of having a bonnet on it.
Yeah.
Like that is
They sure did. That's true. I've never seen a Black woman at the airport flying with her hair fully done and ready, like on the go.
Yeah.
And it's just like wrapped up.
Yeah, some kind of thing. I saw, you know, that's just really, really funny. But it's people are always policing the way Black women express themselves in public. And that is the beauty of Niecy and Mickey. And I think, because like you guys hear the way, like my whole life people have been like, oh, you talk proper, blah, blah, blah. And I've never affected a different way of speaking. I just am who I am. And I grew up around women like that. And I grew up watching that show. And so it was just like, I always knew that there was just, the Blackness was multifaceted, and that the media could represent all that we are if we take the time to make it, you know. So I don't know. I just Robert Townsend is so special to me too. Have y'all seen Hollywood Shuffle and just so many great things? He's got Meteor Man, you know.
Meteor Man.
Gotta open up the old experiences there because I'm not super familiar with this stuff.
Robert Townsend was I feel like because he was doing something different with Black comedies. He was writing them like this, where they were these kind of you didn't see them coming comedies where you think it's gonna be this, and then you watch, you're like, holy shit, I'm crying in this motherfucker. Why am I crying right now? This is supposed to be a comedy. Why am I in tears? Because like the relationship between these girls and Martin Landau, and then the fact that like we find out that he already knew all along that they like from the get-go that they weren't, you know, his long lost granddaughters, and he still took them in and still like nurtured them, and it wasn't no creepy shit. He wasn't trying to like, you know, have sex with him or anything like that, which I love about it.
I really appreciate it. It wasn't like, you look so much like your grandmother, like creepy, because it so easily could have gone like down a creepy road, or even the nephew could have been creepy. Like the only person who was kind of
low key, like just saying,
right, but like
it just turned out it wasn't porn.
It could, but it could have gone like down, you know, a dark like creeping on him sexually. And I had like, and all the notes I was taking watching the movie, I just kept writing, I'm like, I just love how sweet this is between Martin Landau and the two girls. It's very like, it's like fatherly, grandfatherly, like he really cares about them and likes them and gets along with them and like wants to hang out with them. And he's probably like the least sort of put off, I guess, by their, personality and look at everything, and with like the least expectations, I guess, of them, maybe because he had loved a Black woman in the past, and was like, I know, like, it's not a monolith, they're just who they are, and I really like these girls and I want to take care of them. They are like granddaughters to me, even though they're not mine. And I just I love unexpected friendships in movie tropes. Those are my favorite. Especially I am a sucker for like befriending like an old man. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm secretly an old man.
Old men are adorable, man. They're old, like when they're not creepy or like really mean, they're super cute. They're even so sometimes cute. When they're mean, they're still kind of cute.
Yeah.
I also, another element that I really love was that Mickey, who the actress who played her just died. And
I know she was the stepsister in the Brandy Cinderella, which I love that.
Yes, super talented, and yes, she is a woman of size, and her size is like to my recollection, I don't think there were fat jokes. And for the 90s,
not really. There's like a few nods to like, I think just like, oh, you were getting in the kitchen getting popcorn is like maybe the like furthest it goes. It was like, she maybe
that was like,
but like
it was like a toss off.
It was such a toss off, and it was like definitely not like, oh, you eat too much. It was just like a light implication, like maybe she eats slightly more. And but even her cooking is not treated as like a fat joke. It's like this is something she's amazing at. And it's like life-giving food, actually. Like he perks up after that first meal and is like, ready to hang out and party.
And the Italian guy, even though he's using her, he does seem attracted to her. She has a partner. I appreciate seeing women of size being loved without question.
Absolutely.
And also befriending smaller women without them being there to prop up how pretty and small the other one is.
Yeah.
Like it's the two of them don't even think about it. It's not like a joke about her size. And for the 90s, it's groundbreaking because you got anybody who weighed more than $115 was so fat and got made fun of and everything. And that's
you see the contrast because like the way that her character is treated in this movie as opposed to when she was in like How to Be a Player, there were several jokes at her side. Like that movie's so problematic now, by the way. It's hard to go off on a tangent. I watched it recently. I was like, how was this one of my favorite movies? This movie is so fucking misogynistic and tragic. It's so bad. But like in that movie, like same kind of character, but played a different character. And like it was like almost every other joke towards her was like either her being a crazy stalker from her ex-boyfriend or being fat. It was like those jokes back and forth.
And Elizabeth, I don't know if you'll notice if you like agree with Chris with this, but like, did you feel just out of curiosity? Did you notice like in that time period, it felt like a pretty normal thing to happen is a TV show or a movie would have a famous, funny Black male comedian, and then his girlfriend, and then the girlfriend's friend would constantly be the butt of abuse from the guy, and everyone in his life would be like, "That's Martin. He's so funny."
Yeah, I was gonna say. We watched Martin when I was a kid, and I don't remember it super well because like I had cable growing up and stuff too. I always joke that I had unchecked access to TV, and everybody in my family was like, "Oh no, she watched too much TV. It's fine. Made a career of it. It's all good." But yeah, like I was actually looking at Martin clips for work recently, and I was like, man, he's really fucking mean to Gina's friend, like. And yeah, there was I know there's another show.
Jamie Foxx, it was Sherry Shepherd's character.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, it was always if it was like a heavy. I know the friend was usually a bit heavier, maybe than the girlfriend. It's funny, I can't think of like specific examples, but when you said it, I was like, yep, that's happened a million times.
And it's kind of funny because they would go unchecked. Like I can't, and that to me is
even like, her friend wouldn't even be like, tell the boyfriend to like lay off. She would just be like, oh, that's like you said, like that's Martin or that's whoever,
Yeah, and the audience
Gina would check Martin. Okay. She'd be like, Martin, or she'd be like, stop it. She would always do that every now and then.
But that always felt so like, you're so crazy, boy. Stop verbally abusing my best friend.
That's true. That's fair.
It wasn't, I just feel like that would not play today. I think I think audiences today would not tolerate a female lead who allows their love interest to abuse their friends. We'd be like, oh, she's a bad friend.
Yeah, because in real life, if you were doing that, like, you're an asshole. You're a piece of shit dude. Yeah. Because like if you're abusing my friend, that means you're gonna abuse me at some point. Which, because like anybody that talks shit to your friend, even if she is like a mad bitch, like that's still kind of, if you're abusive towards that friend, that means you're probably abusive towards the person that you're in a relationship with in some way. Maybe you just don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it just wouldn't work.
It's a red flag for sure.
Now. Yeah, we're more aware of that now.
I think I'm curious about what the writing team was on B.A.P.S, because I just feel like, again, with it, like, passing the test, and the women were actually each other's friends, and a lot of the funny moments came from them, not at their expense, but like from them. You can tell it was like, at least they were cognitively thinking that women are people and they're funny too. Well, and whereas like in How to Be a Player, the women are accessories. They are something to win. They're a side, you know what I mean? Like these, God, the bidet scene was like Lucy level.
Yeah, it was like classic, rock solid. But it's interesting, according to the trivia, it said the screenwriter was not happy with the final product of B.A.P.S, but he didn't really specify why. And, you know, you can self-edit IMDb trivia, so maybe take it with a grain of salt. So like I said, I don't know what the writer's concern was, because I think it was a woman who wrote it.
Excuse me. Oh, that may be why
I could be wrong though.
This is so great. It might help. I mean, Robert Townsend's pretty good about it too, but,
did y'all read the critical response?
No, that's great. I would assume
the reception was overwhelmingly negative. On Rotten Tomatoes, had a score of 16% based on 32 reviews. Audience surveyed by Cinematic Score gave the film a grade B, and Roger Ebert gave the film a rare no stars rating, calling it jaw-droppingly bad. Fuck you.
Robert Ebert was a fucking stuck-up prick.
Yeah, like he is a good reviewer, but he has limitations, which I think we're coming to understand more now. Like, I have friends who run a horror YouTube channel, and they went through a bunch of his reviews of horror movies that are very now, like, maybe not even critically acclaimed, but well liked and things like that. And, you know, he's savaged almost all of them, but they are in fact good movies. So as good a reviewer as he was, and like film historian and critic and scholar of film, definitely majorly limited in the scope, I think, of what he thought would be acceptable, which is, sorry, he's a no longer middle-aged, sorry, but like he's a white guy from Chicago. I mean, he's gonna.
I mean, that's kind of right. Like whenever his name would pop up on like movie reviews, I was like, take it a little bit with a grain of salt, because I'm like, especially movies where it's like, if it wasn't like a black movie where people were slaves and like try to win an Oscar kind of movie, he never really gave it a great review. If it was like a black action movie or a black comedy, it was just like always negative. And that's because I don't think he probably didn't have any black friends, and he probably never shared any kind of experience with somebody that was black, other than like maybe a professional, hey, this guy works well kind of, that's about it.
Well, the writer is also the actress who played the lawyer in the movie.
That's fantastic. Okay. And see, another thing, that was a very, like I said, I think it was deliberate and measured to have against them basically a poised and intelligent, and the other girls are intelligent too. In fact, she went like, wow, I didn't know that. That makes me happy.
And so now I'm curious what changed from how she wrote it and envisioned it to how the Robert Townsend, the director, put it on screen.
You know what I bet it was? I guarantee you the part that she didn't like, it's probably them getting back together with the no shit guys from Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Because like, they came back with like, I'm gonna do better, but like, they ain't gonna do better. Niggas like that don't stay niggas like that. If they've been that way, they in their 30s and shit like that. That's who they are. If they ain't had no ambition at fucking 30, they ain't gonna have it at 31.
But the boy Ali showed up like cleaned up and like in a nice suit and everything. I thought it was funny too. I realized in those like final scenes, I thought the way they had styled Halle Berry was so like, she looked very old Hollywood in a way, in the robe and the kind of blonde bob, because I think they softened her look first versus Mickey's until the last scene when they come downstairs and they're in very kind of preppy clothes, simpler hair, less like ghetto styled, I guess. So it's they're changed as well by their interactions.
Yeah.
It was very noticeable and deliberate with Halle Berry in the robe and blonde hair combo.
Yeah.
But then when she was in that like kind of dance floor area of that house, I guess, with the boyfriend, and he looked very cleaned up and slick too, I was like, oh, okay, like everybody's changing. It's just it was a nice like visual touch that is always fun to see, I think.
Oh, that scene got me emotional as a kid. I don't know. It did, and maybe that's why it also gives me that Cinderella feeling, because it's like it's not the most healthy fairies. I think you're probably right. I think she probably wrote them not going back to those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like essentially they take them back and kind of give them their dream. Because they
they get their dream because of the girl's success, which is
so like they're basically supporting these Negroes, you know what I'm saying, like straight up. So I feel like she probably didn't write that. She's like, I don't want them going back with these motherfuckers. Like the whole reason I wrote these characters as ambitious women that went to Hollywood and like threw everything they had into this trip is because I wanted them to be successful on their own, not like needing a man to like complete the cycle of like their womanhood. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they kind of made it seem like they wouldn't have been happy if they didn't get back with these dudes.
Yeah, you know which that kind of comes out in that scene in the limo with Halle Berry and Martin Landau, as he goes on about like, no success is worth like the love that you've lost. And she says, I have the, high school boyfriend. And I was like, oh, it's kind of sad though for her, because like if he's like not a bad guy, but he's not like, she wants to open the salon and restaurant and is working really hard, and she's got this kind of a bum of a boyfriend, but is like still so hung up on him. And I think that Martin Landau's like love story doesn't quite translate to that. The scenarios are very different, where it was like they were torn apart by like society and
different, a lot different,
cultural stupidity. And it's like, no, Halle Berry can absolutely do better than this dude. I hope she does.
Yeah.
So it's funny, you guys talked about how like basically the guy's idea ended up being pretty genius, and it's basically the Uber of the time, pre-cell phones.
Yeah.
What do we think about a restaurant that's also a hair salon? Because it sounds like
it does sound like
There's two things that I have a problem with that. One, on paper, it sounds like a great idea. Like you can go get your hair done, and then like you can enjoy a nice meal, or like while you're waiting on your appointment, you can enjoy a nice meal and then go get your hair done.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with it is the mixture of smells, because like soul food and like hair products and motherfuckers like sitting under like heat lamps and shit like that to get their hair done. I feel like those two smells mixing together will fuck up your neighborhood. I don't think that they're supposed to be combined.
No, like hair bleach is not a good smell.
Yeah.
And actually, like a crazy boss at a place I used to work, she would get like her roots done in like the conference room office. And so if you walked by, it reeked. And it's like, I'm not super hypersensitive to smells, but it's one of those ones that just hits you wrong. And so your stomach kind of like turns, and it's like, also, why are you doing this?
I love the way the radio announcer says it at the end. The one place where you can get weaves and waffles, eggs and extension, bangs and bacon. I told you.
Bangs and bacon. I know. I was like, oh, I do love bacon.
I haven't watched this in like 3 years. This is how Chucky B.A.P.S summer was. That like,
Chucky B.A.P.S summer. So, like, I mean, if the two places are cut off, maybe like if there's like a separate entrance, like if there's like a walkway between the restaurant and the hair salon, like a good hallway, it might be.
Because are we all picturing you're eating food at the same time your hair is being done?
That is what I'm picturing, but now I've got an idea in my head. Now I if someone listening to this decides to execute this, please put it in LA. I'm looking for a spot. Okay, so here's what you do. Okay, so you have your full service salon that does like bleach cut color. Mm-hmm. That is separate. Okay.
Yep.
Then you have like an outdoor bar patio area. So let's say that you are getting like your bleach done and you need like 45 minutes for that shit to process.
Right.
You can go grab something at the cafe, outdoor, ventilated, have a nice little breeze, you know. And then there's another section that is like the glam to go that does blow dry services.
Oh, like dry bar or whatever.
Like dry bar, you know, and makeup. So like that's over there. And so we got the chemical smelly outdoor restaurant and then the quick and fast. And it's like in between. So you can like, you know, because you can have a dry bar. If you go to, oh my God, I was in Vegas. Dry bar in Vegas legitimately has a full on bar. So like,
I got champagne there, and that was the start of the day. I was like, I can keep pace with my friend. I'm not slightly older than her and don't naturally drink a ton. And then the next day I almost died. So, you know,
there's something about that alcohol you put back when you're getting a beauty service that I have gotten absolutely trashed getting a pedicure. Like just slid in the water and thought I was going to drown.
You're just like, just keep blow drying my hair, whatever, it's fine. Are these free? Hell yeah! All right, keep them coming.
Well, I mean, it's like like imagine like being able to drink alcohol while also getting a massage. Like I feel like that kind of relaxation, you just feel
you just lose
so much. You're like, fuck it, I don't need to. Why do I need to be sober when I'm enjoying this?
Yes.
I feel that. But here's the thing, though. I like your idea for the restaurant hairstyle combination, but they didn't do it this way. It was like all enclosed. It was all in one.
All inclusive.
It wasn't cut off. There was no sections. It seemed like you walk right in, get your hair did, and then you walk a little further in, and there was the restaurant. And for some reason, this restaurant had a stage. I don't know why. I guess they didn't have a performance for a stage.
I would have a problem with that. Oh my God.
Yeah. But here's the thing too, because I was also thinking like, I feel like I've worked in fast food before and shit like that, so I've been around fried chicken. And I know if you're around fried chicken, like the cooking for an hour, that shit gets in your hair. So if you get your hair done, you just got it like nice and washed and done, and now you walking out smelling like fried chicken, you just defeated the purpose because you're gonna have to come right back in or go home and wash that shit out because you don't want to walk around with your hair did, but you smell like fried chicken all day. And as a Black woman, you can't walk around smelling like fried chicken. That's just like stereotype. You don't want that.
Sorry.
I will give you that. So Lily's was problematic. By the way, y'all, they named it Lily's after the grandmother.
I know.
It's a heartfelt movie.
Yeah. Like I said, I like.
Did it have to be a Z though? Did it have to be Lily's?
It had a Z?
It did have a Z.
It wasn't apostrophe S. It was apostrophe Z.
Okay, I got thrown off because I thought it was Lily Z, like the last initial. But it's the apostrophe. Unfortunately, yeah.
I love how many cameos are in this too. They're like, I'm looking at the list. Dennis Rodman.
Yes.
Dennis terrible acting.
Dennis Rodman was great in the last like 2 seconds of the movie.
He was not great. He was so dry. It looked like a Frankenstein, and they told him their lives. You should come with me. I would make you very tired. Kiss hand. It was so robotic. Get out of here. How dare you say he had acted good?
Oh,
there were a lot of cameos in this though. Which I actually, you know what? I also liked the fact that of all the cameos and stuff like that, like even though these girls are like mad abrasive and mad aggressive when they saw these celebrities, all of them were super chill with them, didn't talk down to them, didn't make them feel like shit. Like they were all like, all right, cool, like no big deal. Like, let me do what you want from me to, get your way and then have a nice day. Like
when they meet LL Cool J though, their behavior is egregious. When they
it's so funny.
The way Holly Berry jumps on his lap and then Mickey's like, keep licking them lips.
But here's the thing though, I've met LL Cool J. I get it. He's a dreamy man. I've seen him in person.
I do love him.
He's very chiseled. He's very ripped. He's very tall. He's very muscular, and he's very handsome. So I get why you would get a little bit. Because they dropped their bags and everything. You can tell it was the 90s. Because if they just saw people drop bags at the airport, everybody would have lost their fucking mind.
It is so funny to see pre 9/11 flying on television and just be like, oh, you look so happy and relaxed, and like walking people to their gates, like just hanging out.
Thing.
Yeah.
Watch somebody fly off.
Yeah, people used to just like the airport used to be like a mall. Like you could go if you wanted to. Like
the only thing they were worried about is like you had a handgun or a knife. That was it. They weren't worried about you like trying to make, a baby bottle bomb or some shit like that. Like
when I was in middle school, my dad was working in DC, and so I flew to visit him for the summer, or like for a week in the summer, and they signed me up for the like, hey, we'll watch your kid program. And they didn't do it on the way there. So I always laugh that as I walked off that plane, I saw my dad. I was like, oh, hi, Dad, and went with him. And like, I looked like my dad, so it wasn't that weird. But like, as far as the airline concerned, I just disappeared with a strange man. And I told my parents, they're like, did anyone like check on you? Like, they're like, no. I was like, no. And they're like, we paid extra for this like unaccompanied minor thing to like keep tabs on you. And so then they did it right on the way back. So then when I got off the plane and saw my mom and went, Mom, and like tried to go to her, they were like, no, ma'am, we need some ID. So I just laughed so hard that I run up and yell, Mom, and they're like, no, don't go to your mother. That could be anybody, but just disappeared in a whole different city with a man.
That is surprising they didn't do it the opposite way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's bad.
The 90s were different.
The 90s were wild.
They were different. They were different.
We've talked about some of my bizarro like 90s, early 2000s Michigan shit. It's just weird.
You can't even get into it. We don't have enough time.
We do not have enough time.
Okay, so I want to ask 2 questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
This is for you ladies. This is for the ladies. I want to ask you this. You're married, so you can speak on this hypothetically if you were still dating and single. Okay, Jasmine?
Okay.
Can one person having ambition in a relationship be enough for the both of them?
Wow. Actually, I can speak on that as a married person because like my husband has ambitions in the sense that like he wants to be happy. He wants us to have a good home and be happy and all those things. I have ambitions that are like way less attainable. And like we're in LA because of me. I'm a comedian. We're here because I want to do stand up and get to the point. God, it's so fun. If someone had told me you have to be a writer and an actor to keep doing stand up after a certain point, or else like nobody will let you, I just would have been like, I don't want to do this shit. Sorry, I'm in the middle of like a rejection cycle. So I'm like, I hate this shit. I'm over this, but I'm about to go on tour right now. But I think ambition for the both of you can absolutely work. In fact, that's how you have a partnership in a situation that can work. But the thing is like now as a culture, we're getting to a point where that doesn't always mean it's the man. And a lot of people, male and female, kind of have this understanding that like, yeah, a woman should do whatever she wants until she gets married. And then by default, her dreams and ambitions just go to the back burner. Like if you like they did a survey on this, and like 60% of men said they wouldn't move to follow a woman for her job, but on the reverse, women said like pretty much the exact opposite. It's just more normalized. And if you are an ambitious woman, you really have to find someone who believes in you. Like that's super, super, super important. And I'm real lucky. I have a partner who genuinely believes in me, even when I don't believe in myself. So I'm very lucky, and that is hard to find. Now there's a difference between having ambition and having goals and having a united plan and then just living off one another. And that's not the case. Like his ambition isn't to do nothing, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that works out.
Yeah, as a single person, it's a struggle for me, I feel like, to find someone whose level of like hustle and ambition matches my own, because I work full time. I do this, I do stand up occasionally. I'm with our like sketch show and podcasting with that. Like I have like a lot of things going on all at once, and I feel like sometimes when I tell guys that, they're like, oh okay, like, well, no. Like and it's not even like I need you to have the same like ambition like you were saying as mine, but as long as like your goal is to be like sort of the best you can be at whatever you're trying to do, even if it's like like I want to be the best teacher, like a successful teacher, or like plumber or whatever, and it doesn't have to be like you also want to hustle in entertainment or whatever. But yeah, but you also definitely can't like one partner can't coast on the other partners,
and that doesn't always finances too, because it could be like, if you decide to have kids, like there's, if I'm going to work for 50, 60 hours a week, you should be with said kids. Like the expectation that the woman is somehow the only caretaker is crazy.
That's been a huge problem with the pandemic of, okay, all the schools are closed down. Somebody's got to take care of the kids at home. And in so many relationships, whether some women wanted it or not, they had to stop working to do childcare. Like millions of women have lost their jobs in the workforce, and like the unemployment and layoffs and stuff have like disproportionately hit women and women of color especially. And a lot of time there was like a New Yorker article or something like that where the woman talked about giving up her job to do the caretaking, and like the husband did something insane though too, where he's like, well, I quit too because I actually don't like this job, and like just kind of fucked them both
and
over.
And she laid off all of her workers. I saw that.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, yeah, I was like, I'm missing a huge thing. Yeah, so she like had a whole business that she ended for this guy during the pandemic, and then he was like a huge turd.
Wow.
Oh, a lot of it is so funny because if you talk to a lot of men and they're like, do you want kids? Yeah, eventually. Like anytime, I will say this, and I'm a married girl, but I love giving people advice. If you ask a guy if he wants kids and he says eventually, and then you say, what does eventually mean? And they don't have an answer, run. Because what they mean is, I want my seed to live on because I believe my sperm is powerful. However, I have no ambition to father anyone.
Yeah, like, I don't want to do any of the work.
Like if you
I met someone who he was a married guy, and they and he said, oh, she wants kids, so I'll give her a kid, but I'm not going to be involved. And I was like, buddy, that's half yours. Get in there. It was fucked up.
See, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Ooh, the straights are not okay.
No. I don't know how we're functioning. Like, I'm on apps, trying to, oh God, it's, I keep saying I just want a matchmaker. I'll shell out for one. I don't care at this point.
Oh man,
do a lot of the heavy lifting for me and just get me onto that first date, and we'll take it from there.
I feel like that's what we're gonna be like. That's the funny thing too, is like when it comes to how dating is and stuff like that now. People make fun of like old school ways of like arranged marriages, but I feel like that's what we're gonna end up being like, because like the way these dating apps are, like people treat it as just like numbers anyway. Like, so it's just gonna be like, people are going to crunch numbers into a fucking algorithm and be like, you match well with this person. And people are just going to be like, all right, cool. Like, you ever seen that episode of Black Mirror where they're like in this like dating colony, and like they get matched with like, so in the episode they're like in this dating colony, like all these people are in the dating colony, and like they have these little machines that like match them, and they get to try out a relationship for like a certain period of time. And this like system collects data during the time they spend together, and then like matches them with a new person in like a better way, in like a little longer or a little less time, and blah blah blah. It's basically essentially a way to find your perfect match. And like I watched that episode, and it scares the shit out of me as a single guy because I feel like we're on the cusp of that, and like especially too, like because of millennials, we there are millennials that do want to have children, but because of like the financial state that we got stuck with because of our parents and the parents before them, voting wise and shit like that.
No, Chris, it's because we all eat avocado toast and we're entitled. That's why we can't afford anything. And we keep killing the napkin industry or whatever.
That is also true. We do eat a lot of avocado toast. But like, it's hard for us to want that, like the great American dream, because like we can't really achieve it. So I feel like population is going to go down. So therefore people just be like, fuck it. You guys match with these numbers. We crunch the numbers and you're going to be together. And that's the law. It's gonna be like some weird shit like that.
Who knows, baby?
Just to keep the human race going.
What's your other question for us?
Oh, sorry. So,
no worries.
No. To end it on a happier note, I want to ask you, ladies, are you a Niecy or a Mickey?
Oh,
see, the problem is I don't think they give them enough. It's funny because I said they were fleshed out characters, and then I can't like mentally point out what makes them so different. You know what, Chris? Explain the difference between a Niecy and a Mickey.
Yeah.
To me, I think Niecy is a strong-willed person with her head in the clouds, and then but has the ambition to achieve her goals. I'm not saying like they're unattainable. She has the ambition to achieve them, and I think Mickey is more of a around the way, based in reality. Keep like, yes, we have dreams, but like remember, there's some stuff in between that we have to get done to get to that dream, and we have to do it the right way. So there's a more grounded dreamer, and then there's more of a like I'm lost in the clouds dreamer. And I think Niecy is a little more lost in the clouds dreamer than Mickey is. That's my opinion.
Okay. With those definitions, I think I am a Mickey. But and in some cases to my detriment, because I feel like I throw up a barrier to, like, oh, I can't possibly do that because I like don't know how to. Like we were I think we were saying it off mic earlier, where it's like I'm hesitant about, things. I'm capable of it, but I don't know if I can. So I think I would fall into a Mickey category in that sense.
I guess I'm a little bit more of a Niecy because I'm I don't know. I think I see myself as both of them in a lot of ways. I can be like,
I think you can be both.
There are two people inside every woman, a Mickey and a Niecy.
Oh yes, the two women.
Yeah, the two genders. No.
Well, the reason why I want to say for you, Jasmine, I would say you're more of a Niecy, only because of who your husband is. Because I do think that sometimes like you get in your own head, and he kind of brings you out of it.
Yeah, he does.
Keep you like, hey, listen, don't go to that dark place back there. Stay right here in the present where shit is good.
I can be. It's kind of funny. This movie, thinking about it, makes me feel like more optimistic and whimsical because, man, like actually living in LA will beat you down. You'll just be like, why am I in this expensive ass terrible place?
It's because movies like this. Because when you see a movie that's like based in LA, they put like a little magic on LA. Like even I've been living in LA for 7 years, and even now when I watch, even seeing this movie and like seeing the Capitol building, the Capitol.
I was like, oh, I know that street.
Hey, like it was like I was excited because like, oh, I live in this city. But then you like sit back in the reality, like, oh yeah, I live in the city. So it's the movies that kind of make us still believe in the magic that is LA.
I just feel like
I have a random movie that makes me do that. This is obscure. So
what is it?
I like I'm a big Craig Ferguson fan. Like I loved the talk show and when he was on the Drew Carey show. And at some point, kind of between those two things, he made this movie called The Big Tease, where he's like a flamboyantly gay Scottish hairdresser who comes to LA to compete in a haircutting competition where they do really like crazy wigs and stuff like that. Kind of like
I have to see this.
Sounds like it.
And he loves LA and wants to be in LA, and but it has a hard time. And there's a whole gag where he has to get his HAG card, his hairdresser, like his SAG card. and he's going through all these hoops, but he makes friends and succeeds. And it's like when I first moved here, I watched it a lot because it was hard, and I was like, but he's still so optimistic and like doesn't really let him beat it down. It's a pretty funny little movie. I really enjoy it, and I recommend it. It's really cute and fun. It's like a faux documentary thing too, because he thinks he's been invited to this thing to compete, but he's like invited as a guest, and then he works to get into the competition.
I love it. I love faux documentaries too. Another Robert Townsend closet that I almost picked, but I thought it was too obscure, and I knew neither of you would have seen it, but I can't find anywhere. It's called Jackie's Back.
Oh,
I haven't seen that. I've heard
of
it.
Yes. Okay. It stars Jennifer Lewis, aka the grandma on Blackish, and she plays a washed up diva who is about to do her farewell tour, and they're making a mock documentary put together by Tim Curry about her life. And you find it is just so fucking funny. And there's all these like these flashback scenes to like her life and like how she used to sell these like bootleg relaxers and got sued because they were making people bald headed, and like she's been like blaxploitation movies. It's so So freaking funny. It was one of those movies. My mom used to let me just go into Blockbuster every other Friday and pick whatever I wanted. And I would just walk around and I would pick movies just based on the cover. And if I saw something where a Black woman looked glamorous, and my mom just wouldn't even be like, surprisingly, if it didn't look scary, she wouldn't look at the label. So like I watched Introducing Dorothy Dandridge, where Halle Berry kills herself as Dorothy Dandridge.
Oh, no.
like real dark stuff,
right.
dramatic stuff. But it is funny. And Robert Townsend also directed it. It was like his next film after B.A.P.S. And
okay.
I can't find it anywhere. Every time I do a podcast about movies, I want to suggest it and then I can't find it.
That's the one problem with streaming.
You can find it on Amazon. I feel like Amazon has like all the movies. You just have to rent some and buy some.
You have to. You have to buy the physical DVD.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh
yeah. One day,
keep your physical media, people. I know everyone's like, oh, it's so much clutter and bother, but keep it, because not everything is available on streaming. And sometimes when you want to watch the big T's, it's the only way you can watch it.
When they yanked that Golden Girls episode off for blackface, I bought the entire series because I got scared they were just going to decide the whole thing was offensive. And I was like, I need access to my Golden Girls.
I mean, that's the only way you can watch the Cosby Show anymore. Yeah, that shit ain't streaming nowhere.
Yeah,
gone, which sucks because, like, yes, he's a monster, but that show was fantastic. It was so good. It had like so many good elements in it. Like, it shouldn't be just taken out of the archives because the person that created it happens to be a monster. Like,
I have mixed feelings because he is a monster, but like, I also don't want Alvin to have to work at Trader Joe's forever. Like,
I know.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's not fair to Alvin.
It's not fair. Alvin didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do a goddamn thing. All he did was show up to work on time, learn his lines, and he got fucked.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. All right. Well, this has been fun. Jasmine, tell the people where they can find you if they enjoyed hearing your voice today.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for having me, Elizabeth and Chris. If you guys thought I was funny, make sure you check out my podcast. It's called Rhythm and Bae, B-A-E, like the term of endearment. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere podcasts are found. I also have 2 comedy specials. So if you are looking for a video special, check me out on Dry Bar Comedy. And I have an album that is an adult album. It's I just want to clarify because Dry Bar is a clean comedy thing, but I'm not a clean comedian. I just have she's versatile. So yes, you can see my clean comedy special on Dry Bar Comedy. And then you can see my much more raunchy comedy album on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere you listen to albums. It's called Trash Baby. And then just look everything up by my name, Jasmine Ellis. And you can find me on all the social media at Jasmine Ellis Comedy.
And we'll put your information in our info when we post everything. So you can hopefully click right on the link and be whisked away to the world of Jasmine.
There you go.
And speaking of the world, Chris, where can they find you on the internets?
You can find me on the internet. Just look up Chris Mack. I'm the only one. That's not true. There's a coach out there, but I'm coming for you, coach. I'm coming for you, white coach of Indiana basketball. You can find me at Mack Diddy Combs. That's MackDiddyCombs. That's on Twitter and on Instagram and PayPal and Venmo and everywhere you want to look for me.
And you can find me most easily on Twitter and Instagram at Elizabeth Movies. I also share a name with the long dead famous suffragette Elizabeth Cady Stanton. So I'm coming for you, dead old white lady. Just kidding. I was and am very hard to Google for quite some time, but I think it's starting to change. My mom's like, I didn't anticipate that when I picked your name. But yes, at Elizabeth Movies, Twitter and Instagram are the best way to find me. My Instagram is mostly cats and embroidery, so you might want to go to Twitter instead for actual thoughts. And then you can find our show itself the fastest, easiest way, because we are everywhere, but the best portal is to go to Instagram at Show Me What Podcast, and then you'll find the links to all the Twitter and the Facebook. And we're available on Apple and Spotify and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And are we doing candles today?
Yes, we are always doing candles. Make sure you go to Arlo_Australia on Instagram and get yourself some candles. They're all lead free wicks, and it's all soy wax, and it's all ethnically sourced from Australia. So ARLO_Australia on Instagram. Get yourself some candles and use our promo code ShowMeMiss, and that'll get you 10% off all your purchases. She has small candles that are like 4 ounce. She has 8 ounce. She has 15, 25. She has reed diffusers. So it's all kinds of shit. So make sure you go check out Arlo Australia on Instagram and use our promo code ShowMeMiss, all caps, and 10% off all your purchases.
And one programming note, we are going to take a brief hiatus after this episode, but nothing long, nothing crazy, don't worry. But what an episode to go out on. This was so fun. Jasmine, thank you so much for coming by and talking B.A.P.S and recommending B.A.P.S, because I was like, what a cute movie. It was so fun to watch.
We'll talk too. We gotta have you back on because I want to watch that movie that you recommended. Jackie's Back. We gotta watch that because I feel like we have to share that with you. I feel like we have to share that with you.
I would love to, and I feel like it is so criminally underrated. Like seriously, if we could get like a small theater to we just host a screening, a
live show, that would be amazing.
That's a great idea.
Do something like that. Yeah, maybe
and also, if you are into Sex in the City at all and discussing it, come on by anytime. That's been our main thing. We've been kind of going through episode by episode.
I made the mistake of turning on, I was in a random hotel room and I turned on Sex and the City, and it was on the episode where Samantha dates a black guy.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
And I said, oh no.
That's coming down the pipe. We're not there yet with Chris, but it's coming down the pipe, and it is as bad as you think it is.
Oh no, I can't wait.
I will say the show makes up for it with the inclusion of Blair Underwood.
Yeah, they try.
He's always the nigga in every episode. Anytime a white woman is dating a black guy, it's always Blair Underwood. I was just watching The New Adventures of Old Christine, and she dates a black guy. It's Blair Underwood.
It's so funny because it's just like once you become, because Zoe Saldana has played opposite like 10 million white guys. I feel like once you become the black actor who, like, it's like, it's almost like Hollywood's like, would they kiss a white? Well, they did it before.
And white people seem pretty comfortable with them, so all right.
Yeah, they're like are they?
But just the one, nobody else.
That is so funny. Yeah, I wonder that because I always wondered about that because there is like the black guy that's always like with the white girl, and then and vice versa. But I wonder why they didn't do that with Will Smith, because they changed, because it was supposed to be a white woman in Hitch. But they like the directors and the writers thought like nobody would believe an interracial couple could like fall in love in New York, so they changed it to Eva Mendes. I think it was supposed to be like Charlize Theron or some shit like that.
Really?
That was supposed to be in it. Yeah, I can't remember who exactly the actress was, but like I think she was in the running before they changed it to Eva Mendes. It still worked out. Still a great movie, but Yeah. That's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other podcast. But for this podcast, we will say, I was going to say good night, but I'm like, I don't know what time of day you're listening to this. It's good, whatever time of day.
Good time frame. Bang. See y'all later.
Bye.